Hi everyone, welcome to WW Designs. My name is Nikki and today is day 12 of the Out With a Bang, the Last Days of Summer collaboration that has been kindly put together by Sunflowers and Doors and Julie's Paper Crafts. There are over 40 creators showing you how to make the most beautiful things. There are 3 delightful kits that can be purchased. Unfortunately, for some people in certain parts of the world, you cannot purchase the kits. But because of that, there is a fabulous Facebook group you can join, and there is some absolutely fabulous freebies. That way, you don't have to miss out on crafting. You'll have plenty of pretty things to work with. Everything you need to know, including the playlist, the hashtag, the Facebook group, links for kits and creators, everything you need to know is down in the description box. So you don't need a pen and paper now to scribble down things that you don't need to worry about. I've got everything covered down below. So for day 12, I'm playing along together with Kylie's Card Craft and our prompt is Wings. Now, when I saw this, I went, oh my gosh, I've got a bit of a problem here because the kit I'm determined to use, because I love it so much, has nothing to do with birds, butterflies, nature. So I had to think very long and hard. But this is Out With a Bang, Last Days of Summer. But for us down here in Australia, I'm getting very excited because for us it means the end of winter. I don't like winter. I'm a summer girl through and through. And when I saw this beautiful kit, it is called Shabby Things by Sunflowers and Doors, I knew I had to use this kit to make my project. So I have printed off the pages that I will be using. This is the cover page for the collection. It is just so pretty. It is shabby and pretty, and to me screams spring, which is exactly, of course, what I'm interested in right now. So I have printed all of these on Kodak presentation paper. It's not super thick, but it does let you get the true vibrancy of the colours rather than normal copy paper, and it's a little bit thicker than normal copy paper. So that is the second page. Another page. The main project, I have actually printed these down 90%. It's going to be quite a large piece when it's finished, but I wanted it a bit smaller than your normal A5 size because it's actually a piece to add to a journal. This, I think, was one of the freebies. I decided I needed that. You will see shortly. And I think this is another piece, one of the freebies. So there is so many pretty things for you to play with. I think it's time we got crafting. Okay, so what are we going to be making? Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a large journal pocket with a window and a large journaling card to go in it. So when I was struggling to come up with something to do with wings, I sort of had to make up a little story so that what I'm making today actually makes a bit of sense. So we're sort of going to reverse engineer this. We will get to the pocket, but we're going to start with our large journaling card. And this lovely lady, her name is Rose. She's just turned 18 years of age, and she has a cousin who lives in London. Now, Rose lives in a rural area in England, has never been to London, has also never been anywhere without her parents. But her cousin has invited her to stay, and she has been granted permission to travel to stay with her cousin in London. So we have this little bit, a stamp here. I've just torn this out of some of the leftover bits that I had once I'd cut out my major pieces. And so this is just to commemorate receiving a letter from her cousin inviting her to stay and her parents actually saying yes. So we're going to start by gluing this little bit down. Then the next thing I did, I also had quite a few of these pretty little flowers that were just dotted around on pages, and I'm going to add these in. Reason being, this here is quite purple. This here is quite pink, but some of these gorgeous bits are a lovely peachy colour. So to unite everything together and to make things a little bit cohesive, I'm adding some of these little flowers in a couple of spots, just sort of to make everything become one. So we're going to pop that one down there. Now, I think we need some lace. Really, you know, this is a very pretty thing. It's very shabby chic-y style. So I'm going to just flip this around and I'm just going to run a strip of glue down the side here. And we are going to attach some lace. Whoops. There we go. And I don't want it to hang too far over the edge. Just a nice little bit. Just gently press that down. That will dry very shortly. And I grabbed another little scrap. Oh, I forgot to mention, on the back of this said journaling card, I have glued it down to a piece of grocery bag. It's my favourite way of making journaling cards, providing journaling space without adding too much bulk. And when you're doing vintage style themes, perfect colour. So I've done the same with this little scrap. I grabbed a coin, popped it on my rectangle to cut myself a nice little couple of corners, and I've also glued it to the back of some shopping bag so that in the reverse it all looks nice and neat. So we are going to add this to our journaling card. So we're keeping things very simple here, and other than my piece of lace, I've tried to not go crazy using things in my stash because a lot of people may not have all the things I have. Now, there's a very good chance you will have some lace in your stash, so that's great. But I was thinking of using pretty flowers and all sorts of things, and I went, no. Let's make the most of what's available in this kit, and that way, hopefully, whoever wants to play along can do just that. Now, I just need to trim. Oh, I think I need a bit of extra glue on the edges there. I can see they're lifting. I mustn't have put enough down. I'll just trim this off. See here, I didn't go close enough to the edge. So let's get a nice little blob happening there. And I'll do the same on the other side. Oh, and maybe I just have to hold that down for a minute. Also because, of course, we are gluing on top of the lace. Okay, so, that's better. That I'm just going to put aside to dry now. We're going to start work on our pocket. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, I printed this out at 90% so that when you put it in the traditional A5 size page, it will fit perfectly. Now, I've done exactly the same thing. I have fussy cut out some pretty little bits from leftover bits of my kit pages that I have done, and we're going to glue these on. I thought this little lantern was absolutely gorgeous, so that is being added. Then I have this lovely larger flower, which we're going to pop. No, we might pop this one up the top here. And just a couple more. Maybe down in the corner here. And then maybe we'll add the last little one down there as well. Easy, done. Okay, voila. Now, the next thing we're going to do, I'll just put the lid on my glue because I won't be using this just for the next few seconds. We're going to flip this open. And what I've done here, I've made 4 tiny little cuts because we're going to make an opening window in a minute. And I have just very roughly drawn myself a rectangle. And the reason why I'm doing that is I want to add a little bit of stenciling to the back of this so that when you open the window, it's just not this glary bright white. So I'm just going to very simply use my Victorian Velvet Distress ink because it's the one pink shade that I have, and I'm just going to add some pink shading, sort of working darker in the center and then heading out lighter, just to sort of give the impression of maybe some wallpaper in a lovely young lady's Victorian bedroom. So just trying to get a bit of shading happening. It doesn't have to be perfect coverage. It's just something, because otherwise I was worried about the stark white. Now, I could have glued another page, cut out another remnant and pop that on there, but I also am concerned about bulk, and you'll see why very shortly. And I think that should just about do it. There we go. Just using the one colour, thicker in spots, lighter in others. That looks quite a bit like wallpaper. I think that will do the trick very nicely. Now we're going to flip this over. I'm going to grab my ruler and a craft knife because now we have to actually add our window. So I'm going to start down here. Now, of course, I have covered up some of my cut lines, but I should be able to take a little bit of a guess here as to where I want to cut this through. Oh, that's not quite dry yet. Feeling that might happen, but that's okay. We can just nudge that down a little bit there. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going down right through here, through the center, and we're going down to where we cut before, and then we're turning it around again. And we're trimming through there. Now, I hope I've pressed, we've got a tiny little bit here. Just have to nudge that through. And can you see what we've done? We've created a little window that will actually open. So now we just get to the fold mark and we just gently prise that down. Just being very careful because I've got the extra thickness there from where I have stuck something down. And we're doing the same here. Okay, and I think we might just give this a gentle burnish. Then we are going to grab a little dauber and some vintage photo, and I'm just going to gently do my edges just in case there's any bright white on display. Doesn't have to be a lot. You also don't have to do this part at all. It'd be perfectly okay if you didn't, but I am going to do it. Okay, so now we have our window. So the next thing we have to do is I have this piece that I have cut out. This is from one of the freebies. And what's going to happen with this is going to go underneath here and be glued down. And we need to add our suitcases to here. So her bags are packed. She is ready to go on her expedition to London. So let's just pop those down there. Beautiful. And finally, the bit that I had to include is wings. What I did with this, I grabbed some of the background from the freebie sheet with all the suitcases on it. I just stamped a butterfly from my stamping set, and I've just trimmed off the wings, because what we're trying to represent here is that she has grown up, she has gained her wings, she now has some freedom, and she is very excited about her trip to London. So we are adding the wings. So yes, I know it's all a little bit imaginary, but it was the one thing, the idea that came to my head, and I decided to go with it. So now what we need to do is we have to do some gluing. So we're popping this down, and we're going to start by running some glue around the edge, not too close to the edge, because I don't want to have glue coming out and actually attaching to my windows, because then they won't open anymore. So that would not be ideal. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to open up my wings. Open up the windows just so I can get the placement right. Now, I'm so close to having the entire suitcase in there, and I've definitely got my butterfly. That's the wings, very important. We don't hide those. And there is our little window. And that's a little peek into her bedroom. She's all excited, ready to be going away. Now, the only other thing we must do here is get some more glue. And now we want to make sure that we glue this down well. If you don't, when you're trying to put your journaling card into the pocket, it's going to catch. But it's easier to do this, I think, as two separate entities. Do one bit and then the other. It doesn't matter so much about that one there, because it's not going to have something great against it. But I think we will tack a little bit in down there, just to give us a nice smooth edge. And that way our journaling card will not cause us any grief. Now, I need to leave this to dry just a little bit, so that when I put this together, I don't accidentally glue these two bits together. So I'll leave that just for a few moments, and then we'll come back. So that's all lovely and dry. Now all we have to do is glue our pocket together, and all we have to simply do is make sure we leave this side open. So just for fun, I'm going to work on this side, and don't have to worry too much about the center, but I'm going to put some there anyway, just so that it holds firm. Leaving, of course, our edge open. And then we just fold this down. We don't have glue there, so our pocket is done. So we now have our journaling card. We have our pocket, with our cute little window into her bedroom. And here is our journaling card. And that now simply slots into our pocket. It's going to be a snug fit. I knew that was going to happen, but it definitely will work. I have measured madly, and I want to leave just this tiny bit hanging out the side there. And then this goes straight into an A5 or larger size journal page. And she's ready to go to London. So another thing you can do, if this is too large for you, you'd like to do the same thing, but you want it a little bit smaller, you could print it at 75% or 50% even if you want it quite tiny. It doesn't have to be this big, but I loved all these images. I didn't want to ruin it by, trying to make it too small. So I picked 90% and I love how that turned out. So I hope you enjoyed this. It's actually a very simple project. I'm sure anyone can manage this. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments box below. I would also love it if you could give this video a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate that. And please go and check out all the other wonderful creators. There'll be something new for you to learn. No doubt about it. That's why collabs are so much fun. Great inspiration, and you can see how other people have used the same items but created something completely different. So thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.